this show on the road. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the HowtonEvolution Gaming Podcast here on twitch.tv/HowtonEvolution. And today we're going to be doing episode 2. And, well, 2 episodes in so far. Kakarot, what is up, my co-host? How are you doing on this beautiful, late, well, it might be early where you're at, Sunday afternoon for you, it's Sunday night for me.
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm actually doing really good. Nice, cool weather. It's about 5:40 over here on the West Coast. I'm sure you guys aren't hearing about the weather.
I mean, we are December, so hopefully it's cooler wherever you are at, I guess. It's pretty
the more
windy
colder
here.
it is, the more it feels like Christmas.
Exactly. To me, it has to be cold for it to be Christmas. Don't matter where you're at. If it's cold, it's Christmas. But, we're going to talk about quite a little bit today. We're going to try to go a little bit abbreviated because of time. But we're going to try to get as much information as possible. A couple of things we're going to go over. We are going to go over the Game Awards a little bit, just to talk about what we thought of some of the announcements. Of course, games that we like personally. 2, we're going to talk about Cyberpunk 2077 that came out the same day as the Game Awards. And, of course, the crazy reaction that game has gotten since it's come out. And then as well, we're going to talk about Kakarot. We're going to talk about this topic, and I would love to hear your personal opinion of it, because I'm the one that shot it to you, just to see, for you to do a little research on. Nintendo versus its community. But we'll talk about that later. And if we have time, we'll save some random stuff at the end. Alright.
Sounds good to me.
But you, Kakarot, had brought up something about the PlayStation 5 you want to get over with. First and foremost, the floor is yours.
This is about what I told you about earlier before the podcast started, correct?
Correct. When you text
about
me.
the Spider-Man. With the whole Spider-Man update that just came out for Miles Morales, but more importantly, they actually backtracked. Insomniac Games backtracked, and to the 2018 Spider-Man, the main game, in my opinion, which obviously we all know Morales is a filler until they come out with the sequel. But with that being said, without going off on a tangent, they actually put in another option to where you can run 60 FPS with ray tracing on, but with a slight fidelity decrease. But I don't see it being enough to really see a difference. Mm-hmm. I would actually try that option for the 60 FPS and ray tracing and see what it's all about. But my biggest beef is anybody who says about Sony that, Sony's not powerful enough, it's not strong enough. People that say that don't fully understand the inner workings. Sony provides the hardware for the companies like Insomniac Games or Ben Studios or Santa Monica to run their product on it. So in essence, it's not Sony who dictates how good the games are going to look. It's the developers who decide that, not Sony.
Right.
And that's my little slice of beef right there.
Yeah, even the Xbox guys, Xbox and Nintendo.
Yeah, even Xbox.
They'll do the same thing where publisher, whoever's working on such and such game, they have the control of it. Yeah, Microsoft gets the final. If you want to patch your game, it's got to go through Microsoft. It's got to go through PlayStation. It's got to go through Nintendo. It's got to go through their board of getting cleared first. Then it comes out. First and foremost. So anything on those, you'll go ahead. My bad, bro.
Oh, it's okay. I just say my final point is you can't solely blame the hardware. You have to look at both. You can't have one without the other. Hardware runs it. The developer, the software side, the one that dictates how far they want to push the fidelity or how far they want to push the frame rates, or if they want to add ray tracing or not have ray tracing. That's on the developer side. That's where it mainly starts. And like to add to what Evolution said, then it goes through blocks of, some blockades and hurdles through the corporations of either respectively Microsoft or respectively Sony, who okays it or doesn't okay it. But and the meat of it is it solely falls on the developers.
Yeah.
And that's my rant for that.
So both me and you, well, I know haven't been in a while, but I surely have. We both have worked in retail to some degree. And
yes.
Obviously I don't work in the Walmarts or whatever, GameStop, stuff like that, but let's be very clear. There are no PS5s, Xbox Series X's, or any of that going to be out on the market probably for the next, I would say 2-3 months, at the
Yeah,
most. At the
that's
most.
fair.
At the
Yeah.
most. Give it until March, guys. Um, Besides all the nonsense going on and stuff like that, there are plenty of PS5s going to be available. There's plenty Xbox Series X is going to be available.
And
Um,
please, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it's like, guys, being in retail, doing this and doing that, we've seen how crazy the world has been in the last year with going to retails. And it's just like, let's just go be calm about it. It is what it is. They're going to be there. And I I went to a mall where I'm at, and GameStop's in the middle of it, and they're like, "Hey, GameStop," and they literally posted, please do not ask questions about the Series X or the Series S or the PlayStation 5, because we're not having none. So please don't ask. Regardless, don't ask. Um, just wanted to share that because I saw that where I was at, and I just wanted to press that message. If you do see one and you were able to get your hands on one, cool. Proud for, happy for y'all. Anything you want to add, Kakarot, to it or no?
Um, the other side of it, I mean, yeah, like obviously, don't get mad at the associates who don't have it. They don't have control over it. The corporation side does. Being, where I used to work in the industry, not that particular one, but in that particular situation. But also, don't blame Sony or Microsoft for shortages. This is on the retailers. This is on the corporation of the retailer's fault for not doing one per household like both the companies suggested you do until they had a rhythm going. But instead, they're selling it 1,000 units at once to one person. That's not the manufacturer's fault, especially when both said, Microsoft and Sony, said sell one per household till we have a rhythm going. We know our quota, what we can push out every few weeks or whatever it is they take to, make a shipment to go out.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to get one. Just give it time.
Right. I sat on the internet for over 4 hours, guys. It was draining. It was frustrating all the way around. Miracle got one. Kakarot, you too. It
Yep.
was a miracle. We happened to luck out. Okay. I will say this. Like, the only game I'm playing on Spider-Man is on my PS5 is Spider-Man right now. There's no other game that I'm like interested in. Yeah, there's the old PS4 games. There's the PlayStation Plus collection, but that's not gonna be enough to want me to keep playing on the 5 right now. It's like, come give me something I want. Send me a new game.
And if you guys are waiting for the AAA titles, it's not gonna be till next year anyway. So don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Is it cool to have the 5? Yes. But to really see its full potential, you want to wait for those 5 exclusive games, or just in general that are geared for the 5 or for the X.
Yeah.
You're not really missing out on a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. So, with announcements, we go to the Game Awards. You spin through it. I told you, I told you jokingly, I'm like, dude, if you have patience to sit through it, 2.5 hours. How long did you watch it? Did you lose interest? Or was it just the same old award show like you always know they are?
The same old award shows. I sped through 3/4 of it. I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, I stopped at stuff that I thought would grab my attention, and I would go through and stop every 20 seconds to see, and then I keep going, and I was really hoping for more on what's that one game that they originally showcased on the 5 before it was released. It looked like a oh man, I can't remember the name of it. I feel really dumb right now. Um, I'll have to think of the next pod stream. But the games, for example, I was hoping for another teaser of Ragnarok or Silent Hill. I mean, obviously I knew Ragnarok would be a far-fetched idea, but I was, me, I hope against hope sometimes.
Yeah.
But like Silent Hill, I was really hoping for a good shot at Silent Hill, at least like a 30-second cinematic something. But
Nothing.
instead, to me, they're just talking about past games and stuff. I mean, the only remotely thing that was interesting was a fight between Nintendo and some other developer. To which, obviously, that's for a whole nother opening. But
Yeah.
nothing really grabbed me other
Yeah.
than the whole awards thing with Last of Us 2. But that's that's either near here or there because I haven't played it, so I can't really comment or speculate. But that's the only thing that really popped out in my opinion.
Well, I don't remember who said it. It was I think it was Aaron Greenberg, and he works at Microsoft, and he's like, don't like, he's like telling everybody like a day before, don't get your expectations high. And the Game Awards have done big announcements in the past, but they have not done like something what E3 has done in the past. It's usually one big announcement and that's it, or one big tease and that's it. You're not like getting like a whole bunch of announcements. Like so, like you're not getting like a Metal Gear Solid 5 hidden reveal. You're not getting that. You're not getting South Park. You're not getting anything like big time that comes out of nowhere.
There is. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll wait till after you're done.
And but there were reveals. Some of them were intriguing. I know you have one. I have one. And so there's one. I mean, so let's just go through a few of them that are notable. Master Chief coming to Fortnite. That was kind of leaked out. At the same time, Kratos was already leaked out.
Yeah.
So it was both kind of at the same time that those leaked. PlayStation just decided, you know what? Here you go. He's in Fortnite officially today. And then literally the same time that was going on, Microsoft's like, all right, well, we might as well just throw it all in Master Chief in Fortnite. Then you got Daryl Dixon and Michonne from The Walking Dead in Fortnite now. And Fortnite just becomes the ultimate Smash game now. Speaking of Smash, that's the greatest way to open. See, that's what's so going on Smash, Kakarot, bro.
Mhm.
To open the show with utterly the biggest announcement in the entire award show. Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII in Smash Brothers.
Oh,
Go
jeez.
go on YouTube, guys. There's a million reactions of it, and people losing their minds over it. Because nobody would think Sephiroth would have ever been in, being in Smash at all. There was no chance. And people were hoping, a lot of people were, speculating, but to have Sephiroth
Well,
now in there, that's big.
there's a Hail Mary that got a touchdown.
And that's Nintendo. That Nintendo came out, threw that punch out, got everybody excited, and then there was nothing really left in that entire show. I mean, there was Perfect Dark. Yeah, Perfect Dark was, got shown off. And like we talked about briefly before we went live, bro.
Good
That's
for Microsoft on that one.
and that's what and this is what like I tell you. There's Halo, there's Gears, there's Forza. Those are great games on Xbox by themselves. But they're not going to carry the Xbox. That's not what's going to keep me coming back to Xbox. What's going to keep me coming back to Xbox is like a Perfect Dark. Although I'm personally never played Perfect Dark. Although I do have the Rare Replay collection. I just I rather play Conker's Bad Fur Day, which is to me a funnier game. Because obviously I just missed out on Perfect Dark on the 64 when I was a kid. And I'll probably play it eventually. But for Microsoft needs a title to grab people back to say, hey, we still want you to be over here. They don't have to, and people could talk about Xbox has to buy all these companies. Xbox doesn't have to buy no companies. Bethesda or any of these companies. Make games for gamers. I said it. I know a lot of people reacted to it when Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider was the Xbox exclusive for 1 year. I said that was a huge move. The only
Yep.
problem is it didn't sell on Xbox. Why didn't it sell on Xbox? It didn't sell on Xbox because of one reason. You released it at a horrible time. You released it in the middle of November with Call of Duty, Battlefield, and of course at that time Fallout 4 came out. And you just released it in the middle of everybody. Bad mistake, and that game died. But then what's bad is a year later, it literally came out on PS4, and the PS4 version, it sold better than Xbox One.
Timing. All about timing.
It's all about timing. And that's why you hear all the time. There's only a few games in the world that will actually, destroy, that are not afraid of Call of Duty, or afraid of, anything else. That's Grand Theft Auto, any Pokemon game, Mario, Zelda, and possibly what else is there?
Assassin's Creed, obviously for UK, anyways.
Assassin's Creed. And it depends on how that goes. And then if let's say they dare God of War, Spider-Man, something like that, something that's big that can grab people's attention. There's a few games out there that could stand up to Call of Duty and stuff like that every single year. That's why like
Not
it's not
many, but
smart.
yeah.
Not many, but there's a few.
Yep.
You look at GTA. You look at, like I said, GTA is a huge one. Pokemon is even bigger than GTA is, and those games can pull things down. But yeah, that having Sephiroth in Smash is huge. Do I play Smash? Not really. But for Nintendo, that's big, and we'll talk more about Nintendo later on.
And
Uh,
for the ones that are playing Smash Brothers, I'm really happy for you guys.
yeah, I mean that's a huge thing for Smash Brothers. Um, so Kakarot,
Hmm.
the game that you loved from the Game Awards. Tell me what it is.
Okay, I'm gonna sound like a complete nerd, but the Evil Dead game and Bruce Campbell voiceover. Oh yes, and they even showed gameplay of it.
Yeah, third
I'm
person, over
hooked.
the shoulder
Yep. Hmm.
gameplay. Yes, sir.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited for that. To me personally, and it's more of a childhood nostalgia for me because I grew up with the Evil Dead movies back in the '80s, and for me personally, it took precedence even over Last of Us 2 announcement winning the Game of the Year.
Right.
It's it just what that's like when I saw that I'm like Last of Us what? So it's just I couldn't believe it. To me, that was out of the blue for me. I did not see that coming.
Well,
Now I
because
knew Bruce was quiet, but
right,
I didn't know
because
he was
they've been
doing something
working on
like this.
something. Yeah, because for over a year now, everybody had speculated that Ash would be an MK11, and people have waited. Uncaged Games literally has waited for something of this sort to happen. It never happened. It never happened. It never happened. And then boom, dropped the Evil Dead
Yep.
video game on everybody, and people were like, "Oh, that looks." No, well, we're not gonna worry about how the game plays. It's probably ridiculous. It's probably crazy. It's probably this. It's probably that.
No, but if I may add to this one little thing before you move on from it,
Go
if I
for it.
may,
Go for it.
for those who play Mortal Kombat 11 and all that and have hopes for Ash to come to 11, forget it. After this was announced, that's what Bruce Campbell's working on. He's not going to be in 11,
Yeah,
and
that pretty much got.
that's my opinion prediction.
Yeah, I mean, he's not gonna work on two, three different projects. I mean, most people can. I'm not saying he can't, but no, that was big. I mean, when I saw that, because I'm not familiar, because I haven't heard Bruce Campbell's voice in years. Because I used to watch Bruce Campbell on Briscoe County Jr. Okay, that's years ago, guys. That is years ago. That is like 30, nearly 30 years ago, 25, 30 years ago. And I know
I was more Army
Kakarot,
of Darkness kind of guy.
yeah, but that show is old. Just to let you know how old that show is. Briscoe County Jr. Go look it up. I mean, but he's been in other different movies. I know was in Spider-Man movies. He was, did the announcer in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie.
He's also in that series. I forget, was it Burn Notice?
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember anything.
I think it was a Burn Notice. Yeah.
But no, that's huge because I know people have been wanting Bruce Campbell. I know they've had the TV show or the movies or whatever come up lately, just trying to spark the franchise. And that's the thing, though, is that you got people interested. Oh, he should be in MK11. I'm not gonna say he's not, but yeah, I don't.
It's highly unlikely. And in
Probably
my
not
opinion,
gonna
with
happen.
11, it's got enough guest characters.
Yeah, we don't need no more. Um,
Anyhow,
so you talk Evil Dead as your game that you got your
yep,
attention and your hype. You know what game got my
yes.
attention?
What's that?
A game that I had heard about that was originally gonna be on one of the PlayStation 5 reveals, but it didn't show up, from what I understood. And then they took the time to reveal it. The only problem is this game comes out in 2022. So 2 years from now, almost. Well, I mean, yeah, we're almost at the end of 2020, but technically 2 years. I'll still say 2 years. And that is the Callisto Protocol. The reason why that game got me excited, while it's also nerve-wracking, Kakarot, dude. It's the guys who made the original Dead Space, the Dead Space
Oh,
franchise.
jeez. And
Pe-
that open world on that game was amazing.
the first game, second game was
Yeah.
good, but second game was starting. It was like half and half. It was kind of like how RE5 was going a little bit.
Oh no, I'm referring to the first one you talked about.
Yeah, the first one, the first Dead Space game, is
Yeah.
one of the most creepiest 360 PS3 games on the market when it came out. I remember buying it when it came out. I remember being terrified of that game. The dark corners, the enemies coming out of the walls, and they are on you. This ain't like them coming up like walking at you like you see in a lot of horror games. I'm talking about running at you.
Oh God.
If you remember, if anybody remembers Dead Space, that's how that game was. And then of course the boss fights and stuff like that. And supposedly it's in the world of PUBG, which I know they're going to talk more about it in the near future. We'll see where that goes. It's supposed to be a single player survival horror game for
VR mode. Dun
PS5.
dun dun. Just kidding.
You drop VR on it. Oh god, that would be a nightmare. It's like, well, y'all think Resident Evil 7 and Village are gonna be nuts with VR? Talk about losing some clothes.
You're free. Lose some hair and some get rid of your dark and go to white.
Yeah. Hey man, you're 24, but you're looking a little white there. Yeah,
You're
game scared
pushing
the crap out of
60.
me. You're pushing 60 now. 'Cause when I saw that trailer, I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. It's set on Jupiter, and it's actually you're
Okay.
on Jupiter from what I was reading. And Kakarot, go look it up after the podcast. It's set on Jupiter, and you're in a prison. So
What the?
yeah, so yeah, it's the guys that made Dead Space, the games Dead Space.
I gotta check this out because I know all games and 9/10 of games are fictional, but isn't Jupiter made out of gas
I
primarily?
I think it is.
I'm going off on a little tangent. What I'm getting at is it ties into what you're talking about. It's how twisted it's gonna be.
Right. If you saw that trailer, and you can just see kind of like how creepy this game has the potential of being.
Oh, it's already sparking my imagination. Now I really gotta check this out.
And that's the game that grabbed my attention when they're like, oh, that's going to be that's a Dead Space spiritual successor. I'm like, oh, that is super cool. Because like on the back of the dude's neck when he gets up out of the bed, it has those dots. If you remember Dead Space, they had those dots on their spinal cord. On the back, up and down their back in their neck regarding their life cycle. But yeah, so look, I'll tell you right now since I'm on my phone, it will. You can watch the trailer if you missed it or whatever. They're supposedly on their Discord channel on December 17th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. They're gonna show a new reveal of the game. So
Are you
stay tuned.
that quick this week? This coming week?
So it is a new story-driven single-player survival horror game from the creators of Dead Space coming 2020 to PC and consoles.
Well, folks, we know what game Evolution's gonna pre-order.
Heck yeah. Will I beat it? Probably not. Will I beat it? No, probably not.
Probably 5 minutes soon. You'll be screaming so loud I'll hear you all the way over from California.
Yeah. Let's see. Trying to find the information. Because I was reading up on it. I know I'm trying to hold this off a little bit. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, but yeah, check that out, guys. If you haven't seen it, I mean, I'm having a hard time finding it. My phone's being crazy right now. But December 17th, probably when this goes up on YouTube, you guys will be able to see it. It's only going to be on the Discord channel. You guys said Discord. Also, there's actually another spiritual successor announced. And fans are happy, but fans are also disappointed. Kakarot, do you know what it is?
A spiritual successor announced. Fans are happy but disappointed at the same time.
Right. Because of a title.
Oh, why do I feel like I should know this?
It's one of the.
I don't.
So, to short term it, Turtle Rock Studios, the makers of Left 4 Dead series, announced Back for Blood. Back for Blood is like a spiritual successor, or should have been titled Left 4 Dead 3. But they didn't. They wanted to change the name and put Back for Blood.
Well, is it a continuation? Is it a reboot?
I guess it's like a reboot because it is a 4-player online co-op shoot 'em up zombie world, just like Left 4 Dead. They showed even gameplay of it at the Game Awards, like a cheap little gameplay demo of it, and I'm like, it's Left 4 Dead. I go, it's the guys that work on Left 4 Dead. They're just not calling it Left 4 Dead 3, and I'm like, oh, fans are happy. I wonder how many are upset.
Go ahead. I'm gonna look this up.
And that's the thing, dude. Is I mean, people want to make it. That's great. Go for it, but that's crazy. Okay, so since Kakarot is looking that up, okay, so I have the Callisto Protocol. Set on Jupiter's moon Callisto in the year 2320, the Callisto Protocol is a next-generation take on survival horror. The game challenges players to escape the maximum security Black Iron prison and uncover its terrifying secrets. A blend of horror, action, and immersive storytelling, the game aims to set a new bar for horror in an interactive environment. We built a world-class studio. Talk about Glenn Schofield. Of course, he worked on Call of Duty for many years.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I agree with you. I don't see why they just do Left 4 Dead 3. It'd make more sense.
Right? Am I right? That's why people are like, oh, it's Left 4 Dead 3. Oh, but wait, no, you didn't name it Left 4 Dead 3. You named it Back for Blood. Black for Blood. I'm like, oh, that's great. It's a great title.
So that's got me confused now. Now I get why people are upset, because what we're thinking, is it a continuation? Is it a sequel, or is it a reboot?
Prequel, yeah, stuff like that. That's why I don't like when they change stuff like that. Now I get it where people get tired of seeing 3s and 4s and 5s and 6s and 7s.
But to totally flip the script on a totally different title? Okay.
Yeah. It's the same thing, right? If what's the studio? Valve said, like they do with Half-Life Helix, Alex, the VR game. They didn't name it Half-Life 3. They named it Half-Life Alex. But people still loved it. But people want Half-Life 3. But that's neither here or there.
No, it's just the titles can throw people off.
Right.
Because Blood for Blood, like you said, could be legit Left 4 Dead 3, but maybe people just want that 3 in there to make it official for them in their minds.
Correct. See, I understand both sides, but
yeah,
fans, as diehard as we are, a lot of times we love that number on that side of the game.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it don't matter if the game is 50 years old or not. I mean, realistically, I mean, like Mario. Shoot, how many games does Mario have? Like probably 50 by themselves.
500.
Yeah. So I don't think. Yeah, Mario 500 would be a good title. But I see why they did it, but I think Left 4 Dead 3 would have. If you have that Sephiroth thing in the beginning and you do have Left 4 Dead 3 in the middle like they did, that would have been huge.
Yeah, but let's say for argument's sake, and then we can move on because I know you're on a time crunch. But let's just say for argument's sake that okay, people let's just say okay, here you go, and they don't show a video or anything about it. They just show the title. Okay, they'll go, what the heck is this? Versus if you would have put Left 4 Dead 3, like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, the hype.
They literally had to put like a video to so you know what it is. Versus when a title, when something's made, it's there. People know by title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Is that
Which brings me to full circle. If the developers are mainly in control of what software is, how it's named, and how it's made, and all that.
Yep.
But that's okay.
So I mean, we got Evil Dead, we got the Callisto Protocol, which, like I said, bro, check that out when you get a chance.
Yeah, I definitely will tonight.
Because that would just like
Excuse
get
me.
you hyped up for like a Dead Space feel, and that's kind of like what PS4 and Xbox One really miss. Outside of like all the Amnesias and Slenderman, and what was it? Five Nights at Freddy's, which I know is coming to PS5 and all that soon. I mean, those games are great in their own right, but that's people miss that third person over the shoulder survival
With
horror
a story.
with the story, and that's what intrigued me when I saw that. Is that, oh my god, this is a story driven game by the makers of Dead Space. I'm like, oh my god, this game could be something. Take your time on it. There's no rush for this game to come out at all. There's no rush.
Please don't rush it. Do it right the first time. Please.
That's what made Dead Space 1 great. It felt like it was never rushed. Every time they showed it, like I used to watch all the X plays on G4 and all that, and when they showed that game, it was terrifying. It was amazing every single time I saw it until I bought it and I experienced it for myself. And that's what I want to see. I want to see something like that.
And to those out there who, everybody has their own preference on what they like in games and all that, but I'm sorry, these are statistically facts. Story-driven games are what majority of gamers want. Not just shoot 'em up all the time in fighting games. Story-driven games actually are the ones that are outpacing all the other genres. Albeit horror, action, adventure, sci-fi, people just like the story-driven because it gets you out of reality for a little bit.
Right.
That's what got me excited when story-driven.
Right. It's what keeps you focused. Even if I play Red Dead Redemption 2, if I play Spider-Man, Tomb Raider, Horizon, God of War.
Story.
Even Uncharted, even The Last of Us. Stuff like that keeps you intrigued into the game. Metal Gear keeps you intrigued into those games because it's what pulls you in. You're like, oh, get me going. Even the Batman Arkham games did the same thing, where it's like, pull me in. I want more. Give me what I want.
Yeah, because you beat one part of the puzzle. Oh, what happens next if I want to do this? Oh, you get you excited to see how the story progresses.
Instead of, all right, we're gonna be in a match for 10 minutes. Cool.
Yeah, it's just
and rinse, cycle, repeat. No disrespect. I love Call of Duty. I love Mortal Kombat fighting games and all that. But those games are for like a quick time.
Like a set, first to 5, and then you're done.
Yeah,
you're done for the day.
I could play all day in those, but those games are not going to keep me intrigued to keep playing all day. I'll play because I sit there and I could play Metal Gear Solid 1. Just for an example, I could probably play that all day because I'll be immersed. Once I start playing, at first I got to get in the mood to play it and get into that world. And once I get into that world, I don't want to get out of it. I love that world. Same thing with Horizon, how beautiful Horizon was and how crazy that game was. It's the same thing with Ghost of Tsushima. It's ridiculous. The story's not so big. It's kind of obvious what the story is for Tsushima. But that game is still amazing.
Yeah. But the problem with story, there is a drawback to being an adult and with story-driven games. You kind of have other obligations, so it's kind of, you have to pick a date where you have literally nothing to do. Because if you get in that mode, like you said, you lose all track of time when you find a good story-driven game that you like.
Yep. So if you want to make sure everybody's asleep or everybody's out of the house, it's perfect time to do so.
Yep.
That's about it, really. Now, why is you're watching this, girlfriends? We're just playing video games. Just letting you know. We love
Oh, and
y'all.
if you can, if you are single or whatever, and you can find someone, he or she, if you're a guy, you find a girl, a guy. It's even better if you luck out. It's like a bonus if you can find somebody who's a gamer like you are, because they won't
Oh
be
yeah.
sitting there nagging. And I'm going
Yep.
off on a tangent. uh,
Eh, I could hear those footsteps coming closer. What did you say? Never mind.
so I said it for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep.
So like I said, Evil Dead, they showed a lot, which I was pretty impressed by. They actually showed the gameplay on it,
Yeah.
but that trailer for the Callisto Protocol is just intriguing of where that game could go. It shows that one robot outside the cell, and it shows that one creature coming up behind the dude at the end. And
But
that's
see, they did that smart. Because they got you intrigued.
yes, they got you
So mission
intrigued.
was accomplished.
Right. And that's what trailers do. That's what trailers are supposed to do. We're supposed to get hyped. We're supposed to get excited. We're not be like, oh, they just announced another game. Oh, what game is this? Oh, that's what they want you to get. Stuff like that. All right, so Kakarot.
Yes.
On to our next topic, my dude.
Okay.
I texted you this the other day because you're like, bro, what are we gonna do this episode 2 on? I go, well, Game Awards, got that out of the way. Now it's on to the next one. Cyberpunk 2077. We're not gonna spend a lot of time on it. The game has received a lot of mass criticism. Mixed. It is mixed across the board. People on PS4 or PS5 reportedly have got a hold of Sony somehow, or gotten a hold of GameStops, Walmarts around, and people are actually refunding PS4 and PS5 Cyberpunk games. And as well as Xbox One has had problems with Cyberpunk as well. Now, we've gone through this. We talked about this briefly before we went on air.
Mm-hmm.
But Cyberpunk 2077 is just like one other game that came before it at the end of a console generation that will push hardware to the limit and beyond. The only other game that could do that in that scale that I can personally remember, I know there's probably more, but the game that could probably do it the most was Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, it peaked the crud out of the PS3 and the 360.
In the 360, it pushed it hard. I know that because I saw it personally. PS3 tried it and it just pushed it. Cyberpunk is doing the same thing with the 4 and the 1 right now.
Okay, well they shouldn't have this close to cross generation. They should have just pushed it all to the next gen.
Right.
That's just my opinion.
And like,
But
I don't see, like,
go
every
ahead.
time I go, yeah, no, go ahead, dude.
Oh well, I was gonna say, but at the same token, I mean, I know Microsoft and Sony are trying to get as much as they can out of the previous generation and this generation, but you know, because I don't see a developer like say, CG Project Red, someone that's known for Witcher and all those great fantastic games. One do multiple platforms like that, generational platforms, I should say,
Yeah.
and just stick with the new next gen. And okay, like for example, like Mortal Kombat 11 when that first came out, they were originally NRS was originally going to push it on the 3 and the 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was X. That was X. I'm sorry, X. X was going to go on 3 and 4. And NRS said, forget it. It's too much of a headache because it's two separate coding issues. Granted,
Right.
these two aren't the same, but you're pushing so much with the Cyberpunk 2077. It's only inevitable that the 4, and the 4 in the series, the Xbox One X and all that, they're already been peaked. So why not just push it onto the next gen?
Right. It's the same argument we talk about with GTA 5.
Mm-hmm.
GTA 5 when it came out, it was breaking 360s and just breaking PS3s. Skyrim did the same thing on PS3. Skyrim never worked on PS3. For everybody who had a PS3 in Skyrim, good luck. It worked better on Xbox, but it didn't really work great on PS3. Master Chief Collection didn't work on Xbox One. They had to patch the hell out of that game for it to work. And so, like, seeing Cyberpunk going through the same thing, like I said, I was reading an article that PS5, that Sony is offering, it's under Forbes. Sony's reportedly offering Cyberpunk 2077 refunds for PS4 and PS5 after gamers cry foul because of resolutions and crashes and such and such. And also, there's a report that it's working. It works great on newer consoles, even on the Stadia, Google Stadia, which is a different subject. But older hardware is struggling, and that's just a concern. Is that, and this is why, dude, my personal opinion, like you talked about, push it. If we're right on the cusp of new generation hardware, just go ahead and release it on next gen hardware.
Otherwise, you're going to end up with a headache like this. And my question is, who pushed it to go multi-generational?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. Was it the developers pushed into it? Or was the developer saying, oh, I can do it, I can make it work? Or was it Sony and Microsoft that pushed it that way?
Right. And really, truly, I mean, I get it. You want it on all platforms. Technically, let's all be clear. We're just talking PS4 as well, just for right now, for the sake of conversation, because we both have PS4s. I do have Xbox One too, but I don't have a Series X. But for the PS4, it's the same argument. Okay, so they released it for the PS4 and Xbox One, but they never have solely released it on the PS5 by itself. You have to upgrade. And while that's great, where you don't have to buy it again, why don't you just wait till a version of the 5 is officially released? It's coming. We know it's coming. When this game suffered as many delays as it has been, and it's been in a 10-year development cycle,
I'm actually disappointed, to be honest, but that's just me.
That's bad. And people are like, oh, CD Projekt Red they kind of let you down, this and that. So I'm like, the reason why you get frustrated is because when you see a game as buggy, although as buggy as the game was, Witcher 3 was a phenomenal game.
Yeah. I have that game, actually. I still haven't beaten it.
I've played a lot of it. I don't have it anymore. I had to trade it in to get other stuff, but that's a different situation. I wish I still had it. I had it on Xbox One, and I just love that game. That game does not hold your hand at all. And I know Cyberpunk doesn't hold your hand at all.
No, it does not. No,
And,
it doesn't. Good.
no.
It gives you the game says good luck.
Yeah. I went, dude, so, like, my favorite Witcher 3 moment wasn't so much the story, which is kind of, like, crazy because it's all over the place. There was a
That's
moment
an understatement.
It's a very understatement. It's all over the place. My favorite moment was I was on this side quest, right? Check this out. I know we'll go back on Cyberpunk, but just to share a fun thought about Witcher 3 that you might get a good laugh at me on. So I was on a side quest where I had to go find something that was killing people in this village. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's going to be some animal, some creature, some whatever. I can take this thing out. So I go hunting for this thing. Right?
Okay.
Well, I found it. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be able to beat this. But there's only one problem. And do you know what that problem was?
No, I'm scared to ask.
The creature was over a level 30, and I was barely a level 4.
I've come across that issue so many times in that game to the point where I give up.
Yeah, that's when I was just like, oh, I go, most games would not even let you have access to those areas on a low level. I was like, this is where I'm like, okay, I love this game because it did that, but I do go, wow. I go, they did not handcuff you in this game. It's like, you go ahead and you dare go out into this world. If you're not prepared, or you don't have your leveling up, if you don't have your attributes, if you don't have your skill trees or whatever things you do to have everything leveled up, and you go into a fight, get wrecked.
All I can say, go ahead.
You get ready to get wrecked all day.
All I can say before we transition back over to Cyberpunk 2077
Go for it.
is in Witcher 3, tread lightly in that game.
Oh yeah, I learned the hard way. 30 versus a level 4,
Are you
and
kidding me? I had problems facing 3 ogres.
uh,
Yeah. I was climbing up a wall, and there's all of a sudden 3 ogres. I'm like, I can take these idiots. I was a level 3, and they're a level, I think at 8. I'm like, okay, I might be able to do this. Nope. It took me 2 hours to beat that little area, and it wasn't even a boss.
yeah, mine was a
So
sub mission. Mine was a side quest, and I got annihilated in one hit.
mine wasn't even a side quest. It was just exploring.
What's going on, man? Lee? How you
Anywho,
doing? But yeah, I mean, I get annihilated, and I'm just like, okay, number one, I have to eliminate the side quest. I really have to eliminate the side quest. I'm not coming back to the side quest. And what was bad, I was actually trapped down there because I got killed and it checkpointed me at that part. I'm like, you damn game, I don't want to be in this part no more. Get me out of this damn tunnel. No, and I eventually got out, thank God. And I kept on going. I'm like, oh my God, this game's ridiculous.
and you're trying to get out of the tunnel. You hope you don't get killed along the way, right?
Right, exactly. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, please don't. I'm like, okay, please nothing come out of the water and grab me or anything like that. I'm gonna be just fine. Calm down now. But yeah, Cyberpunk 2077, in my opinion, is only available on PS4 and Xbox One. I know it's backwards. It is upgradable to PS5 and Xbox Series X, but you're taking a risk. You are.
At this point, I don't even know if it's worth buying it and then upgrading to the 5, because what glitch is going to be on the 5 if it's struggling on the 4?
Yep.
Oh,
Yes.
gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, so yeah, that's the thing though. Take a risk, and every time you step playing the game, a new game, and especially when a game as big as that game is.
Yeah, it's a brand new. To me, it's a brand new open world, first person game.
And don't get me wrong, that game looks amazing on PC. I see a lot of people
First
playing
person
it.
everything.
That game on
Yeah.
PC is amazing, and that's why people are mostly playing it on is PC. That's why consoles can't handle it. PS4 and Xbox One can't handle it. It's because it's really designed for a higher console, PS5, Xbox X, and of course, obviously PC. And PC people have been playing a ton of it on PC, and
Oh,
game
because
looks
there's no
phenomenal.
glitches on that.
Right. Well, because you could change your settings. One person on the floor actually made one comment. He was like, "I actually got it to work perfectly. The only problem is I had to drop all levels of like frame rates and this and resolutions. I had to sacrifice this and this to avoid any issues."
So that
Wait,
tells me that they overclocked it for the.
yeah. And so not only that, but what they're also saying is that the game is also getting better because here's where they're actually making it up. CD Projekt Red is actually making it up on is where they're making it up on the best is that they are constantly updating this game nearly every day. Kakarot lost connection. That's not good. But hold on real quick, guys, so we can try to get Kakarot back in here. But yeah,
Oh,
we're
hello.
back. You're back.
Yes. Sorry, folks. The technical difficulties over here on the West Coast. We have like one of the worst internets in this place.
But yeah, I mean, we're excited. Cyberpunk, and I want Cyberpunk to be a great game, and that's why I'm holding off on it because I'm hearing all these negative stuff about it, and I just want it to be good when I eventually get a hold of it. May I never get a hold of it? Maybe not, but that's why I don't rush out to get some games day one unless I'm not really excited for it. Because me and you talked about it last episode. Are we excited for this game? And we're like, yes, we're both excited for it, but are we wanting to play it?
I was excited for it, but I was also skeptical because it's a brand new game, and it doesn't matter. Not just them. Any brand new game where a company does so many series of one game and then decides to branch out, which kudos to them. Kudos to any company to do that. I'm still skeptical because you're going on a totally different realm.
Yeah.
Now with CG Project Red, they know open world very well. Hello, hence the word Witcher 3. The Witcher series. They know about open world. It's just
Yeah.
I think they overclocked it on for the last generation consoles. They should just left it for the 5 and beyond.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens in 3 to 6 months for Cyberpunk. And I think
Fingers crossed.
I think eventually that game is going to be phenomenal and great shape. That's just my opinion. It will get there, and it's going to be amazing.
Still be better off just to dump it off the 4 and the X and go right to the next gen, but that's just
I
me.
agree. All right, so last topic of the night. Maybe we'll have time for one more little fun topic. So, Kakra, I told you earlier in the week to look up this story. Because I wanted you to kind of get your mind prepared for it.
Okay.
So, for anybody who doesn't know about Smash Brothers Melee, which is regarding the best Smash Brothers game in the opinion of the gamers, the players that play it all the time, and the fans of Splatoon 2, I believe. Yes, 2. Splatoon 2. Are mad at Nintendo. Of course, Nintendo owns those two properties because Nintendo has issued cease and desist orders on online tournaments for those games.
That's their right. If they own both.
Right. And let's be very careful here. It's one thing if you could set it up online and you could try to get Nintendo to give you a good okay for it and no issues. The reason why Nintendo did so is here's why they did it. For Melee especially. You know why they did it for Melee? A cease and desist order for Melee's online tournament? The reason why they did it is here you go. You try to set up an online tournament using mods. And I don't have the information in front of me, but from what I understood is they try to, how you try to set up old games on mods and different networking. Okay. And obviously that doesn't work with Nintendo's game plan, so Nintendo shuts it down, and people lost their mind because they're like, well, how can we play the game we want to play online, and Nintendo's going to shut it down? Well, Nintendo owns the rights. It sucks, it really does. It's the same thing with Splatoon. People, well, we're going to create a Joy-Con controller to memorize, bring a memory of a fallen, I believe it was a rapper, somebody had died, and they wanted to, as a tribute, and raise money, and that's awesome. Nothing wrong with that. But you can't do that on a property of somebody who owns it, like Nintendo owns the Joy-Con controllers. You can't do that unless you go personally to go to Nintendo and say, hey, we're going to do this event. Can you please make a dedicated controller? We could try to sell it for charity, and proceeds go to so-and-so's charity. And maybe they could say yes. I don't know.
Just play by the rules.
Play by the rules. Stop trying to be like, oh, we're going to do this and do this and do that. Play by the rules. Some game companies, some developers don't care what you do with their games. They don't care.
No, but it's still nice to ask. Even if you know they don't care, it still shows respect.
Right. It's all about respect. Now, don't get me wrong. None of this has nothing to do with disrespecting Nintendo. But Nintendo always has had history of pushing people's buttons. YouTube exactly is the number one reason why people don't like Nintendo. Is because for a long time, before I started doing Mario Maker videos on my YouTube channel, or anything Nintendo, Mario games or anything on it, I literally could not do anything without getting a copyright claim. Because it would be under Nintendo. It would be copyright Nintendo, copyright Nintendo, copyright Nintendo.
Yeah, if people are going to listen to copyrights and they don't get reprimanded for it, then what's the point of having them?
Right.
I mean, there's a reason for copyrights and everything.
Because for YouTube, for years, you had to set up a YouTube. You had to get a Nintendo account, YouTube account, or whatever set up to be able to get paid by YouTube and Nintendo to play their games. Nintendo has gracefully, over the last year or two, especially when Smash Brothers Ultimate was coming to the Switch, cut back on it. So now it's giving fans more access to play their games on YouTube with no issues. I never heard of it any issues on Twitch, but on YouTube that was an issue. That was a huge problem, and it would drive fans crazy. Why do we have to be a part of this program? It's dumb. It's stupid, and yeah,
It
it's
all just
just
comes down to
ridiculous.
two things: rules and respect. That's all it is.
So Kakarot, your opinion on it, sir?
Um, I think Nintendo's fully in its right for what they've done. If they're owning both rights to all of it, I mean, own rights to all of it, what they're trying to infringe on, they're lucky Nintendo's just shutting it down, not suing them for it,
Correct.
because they could easily do that. They're well in their right to do that.
Yeah.
So I just call them, email them, however, ask them. They might be gracious, just like you suggested earlier, and and show me like for charity or whatever it is. Ask them. You just might be surprised by how far showing respect gets you.
Yeah. So, I don't think I really have anything to comment on it because it's pretty plain and simple. Nintendo owns the property; they can do what they want.
Black and white.
Just ask them, see what happens, and that goes for everybody out there. Just ask them. I mean, if you ask them and they say no, they say no. At least you know.
It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world playing one game that's 20 years old online. Sorry. They've been trying to get like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for years to be playing online once again, and you have to do all the PC. I forgot all the stuff that people try to use to get on the fighting game thing. I forgot all the platforms. I watched so much of Maximilian, dude. He talks so much about all that stuff. I completely lose my mind on it. I don't have all
But
that
people also go ahead.
information there.
Go
so
ahead.
yeah, I mean, just ask them. Say, hey, can we do this? Can y'all make a Joy-Con controller for this as a memory of a tribute to so-and-so? Proceeds, anything we could get for donations could go to the charity, could go to the family, blah, 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 blah. Like I said, maybe they say yes, maybe they say no. But at least you know.
There could be hidden things too behind it. Like you mentioned, Capcom versus that Capcom 2 game.
Yeah.
There's also people have to understand there's limited space on all these companies' servers to do online games.
Mm-hmm.
And which, like for example, Mortal Kombat 9 is no longer available to play people online with because they have to make room for other games of their brand, albeit Injustice, another Mortal Kombat game. There's only so much room per server.
Yep. But so with that being said, Kakarot, we got time for one more thing, and we're gonna wrap it up.
All right.
And this is something I didn't tell you about because I wanted it from straight
Ooh, a
up.
surprise.
A surprise. I love surprises.
Oh, yay.
Awesome. What is your 2020 gaming moment of the year? It could be a release date or announcement trailer. It could be a game. It could be a moment in a game. It could be anything gaming related. Just in case if we don't do another podcast by the end of this year. Just in case.
Anything. It doesn't have to be a game. It could be, but as long as it's game related, it's
Game
fine,
related,
right?
it's fine.
Oh man, that's a toughie.
Surprise.
Yeah, you caught me off guard. Good job, man. I would have to say, the last state of play at the very end when they actually revealed what the 5 looked like.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't expecting it. I really wasn't.
Well, I knew that reveal they had to show something about the 5. They couldn't.
Well, I did too, but I wasn't expecting what it was going to look like. They're going to show.
Yeah, that looked trippy.
Let alone at the very end, which has got me the best, its release date. That blew me out.
Yeah, 2 days away from Xbox.
Yeah.
So that was your gaming moment, kind of 2020.
That was mine of 2020. Yeah.
Let's see, man, so many great games come out this year. From Streets of Rage 4 finally coming out. I know No Remorse. Resident Evil 3 remake when it came out. Streets of Rage 4 for him as well.
Yeah, he had a
Um,
great year. He had a great year for him.
Final Fantasy 7, Animal Crossing. I was looking at most of the list of the games that came out.
Animal
Maneater.
Crossing?
Animal Crossing came out this year. You know what game that came out this year that got no love at the Game Awards? Doom Eternal came out this year.
I kind of personally think Doom's starting to be played out, to be honest.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
What else is there? There's so many. You know what game that got no attention at all? Well, it got attention because it got hype. You know what game got a lot of attention? Didn't get none that it was hype? It was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remaster.
Yeah, I know VVVV was playing that a little bit too on his
Yeah.
stream.
Yeah. And those games were fun on PlayStation 1.
That was big on the one. I was just gonna say.
What else was there? Oh, there's so many games. I'm gonna lose my mind and thinking of all of them. Obviously 35 years of Mario. Mario had a that Battle Royale game which you have seen me win a few games. Lost a lot of games.
But as long as you have fun, that's what counts.
It's all about fun. Paper Mario came out. Actually, you know what? Paper Mario came out the same day Ghost of Tsushima came out. That was a crazy day.
Don't get me started on Ghost. I still think it should have won the other one too.
Same here.
I'm sorry. I'm a little sour right now about that. Okay.
We talk about game delays. We talk about PS5 running its course. Nintendo just doing Nintendo does. What else is there? And there's so many games that came out. And I was going through the big old list earlier today. What else was there? Mortal Kombat 11. You know what actually was the biggest story? You know what? I'm not going to say it's the biggest thing that came out, but I'm going to say it's one of the biggest. Mortal Kombat 11 story expansion Aftermath.
I did not see that one coming.
No fighting game, to my knowledge, has released a story expansion of any kind before then.
Nope. They were the first.
I will give NetherRealm props on that. Although I personally don't like, I haven't even played Aftermath, the story mode of it. I've just been so busy with everything else, I just lost track of it. Maybe I'll play it one day for fun. But that my best gaming moment of the year probably was back in drum roll. It's worth it, get a little touchy, I guess you could say. Was when me and my wife went to PAX South here in San Antonio, in San Antonio, back in January in the cold. We went to our first gaming convention as a couple, married couple. She had never been.
That's commitment.
And we went. Now it was very windy that day. It was like 30, 40 degrees and it was heavy wind. She hated it. She didn't want nothing to do with it, but she knew I was dedicated to going because it's my thing. Mm-hmm. And we went. And we played Pokemon. We went upstairs and we had played Pokemon Shield, I believe, or Sword, for an hour and a half, and nobody told us to stop playing. We just kept playing. And so
that's so cool.
Because
so let me ask you a question. After this awesome mixture of gaming and romantic rendezvous of a getaway for you and your wife, is she now more open to be playing games a little bit more often, or she just strictly did it for your benefit?
For my benefit.
Oh, I was kind of hoping for
that. But I did get her to play.
Her up a little bit.
I did get her to play Streets of Rage 4 when we were there, because I had saw on people's Twitter just messing around. At the time, didn't have Twitter, and then I went on Twitter, and when I saw a picture of Streets of Rage 4 there at PAX South, I lost my mind. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta go play that game. I text Tom. I'm like, hey dude, I'm gonna go play this game. I'm gonna go. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna take a picture. My wife's gonna take a picture of me playing it, and I'm gonna send it to you, just to make you mad. I'm just messing with you, but just to show you that I'm playing the game, and I'll tell you what I think about it whenever I get back. And we played it. I was watching everybody play it, and of course the line was super long, and I'm like, oh, this line's gonna take forever. My people hurry up and die so I could play.
Yeah.
I mean, although it was a short demo, it actually where it ended. I know you and No Remorse were doing y'all's little Streets of Rage 4 the other day on his Twitch channel, and
Mm-hmm.
what was it? It's where you fight. What's this dude's name? Goro. That martial arts dude. That one that could do like rush down straight forward, and you just stay out of his line of path, and you could just punch him easily. I was watching people get beat down by him the whole time, and I'm like,
Is
I'm
that the
not.
one where he splits into images and all that?
I think so. It's the one that
That's
wears the
the
white
Shiva.
not Sheva, but the the guy that's dressed as like you're in karate. I forgot his name.
I know who you're talking about. Okay, okay.
Yeah, that I think that's like 6th level or something like that. And yeah, and you go through it, and people were dying to it. And that was what the beta, that was what the gameplay demo was that level. And of course, it ended where you're having to go through, before you get to Sheva, you're going through all that room with all the ninjas and all the bad
Mm-hmm.
guys and all those weapons at one time, and that crazy whole thing. Yeah, I died at that part. Everybody died at that part. It was impossible to beat it with just barely any life in that demo.
But I
Um,
will say this:
that was fun.
a modern with retro mix was just blended beautifully with that game, just beautifully done.
And I was just like, I can't wait. And I didn't see the developer around because usually developers are right there. And I was like, hey guys, do you know when this game is officially going to come out? Because I'm going to try to pull their chains and be like, hey, when's Streets of Rage 4 coming on the PS4? I just want to know. I know they probably won't. I had already been there, but my wife hadn't. We went, spent a little bit of money, did this. We actually played a game that they actually created, and I'll show you later on, dude. Where they made it was actually for the old NES. They actually had a cartridge for the old NES, for the old Nintendo, that you could play it on every single platform from the old NES to the Nintendo Switch. But the Nintendo cartridge they were charging $50 for it, and I told my wife, no, that's too much for
Oh
that.
God.
I was like, no. I go compare $50 for that cartridge. That's more for like a memorabilia versus buying on the Switch when you could buy it for like $10 on the Switch. I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah,
just
you might
buy
as
it
well
for the
buy a
Switch.
PS4 game at that point in time.
Right, I might as well just buy it on the Switch. It was a fun little, it was a fun little indie game that they had made. It was fun, and I talked
But
to the
I
guys, and they were
understand the
fun.
price tag to it too.
No,
I
no,
understand the
I
price
get it
tag
because
to
it was
that.
collectible as an NES,
Yeah,
actual cartridge, the NES cartridge, those big
that's
cartridges.
really cool. Yeah, that's really cool
Yeah,
though.
I was like, that's pretty cool. I was like, and the guys were open. They're like, look, I know it's this and it's for collection, this and that. But it's like, guys, if you want to play it, just buy it on the Switch. Save your money if you can. And they were real open about it. They're like, this is just for those who want to go crazy, collectors out there going crazy.
That's
And
cool.
and like I said, we played Pokemon Sword. You go up to the 3rd floor, and in that room has every single game made available. You can play Sega, you can play Nintendo, you can play PlayStation 1, PS2, PS3, and it's got a whole game catalog with all the different consoles throughout. And one half of the room is like current gen, the other is like past gen. And I go, well, which one you want? She goes, well, let's stay a little bit more current. So I go, well, what game would you like? She goes, well, a game you never played before. I was like, oh, a game that I would love to play. I haven't got to yet. Hell, I still haven't played it, even though I have it. I go, let's play Pokemon Sword. So we go, sit down. They give us the game. They give you a controller. You sit down, you plug it in, turn on the TV's already set up. It's already modified because it's a special station for that special console. And you go play it. And they're like, you usually get 30 minutes to play and you're done. We just kept playing, kept on playing, kept on playing, kept on playing. We went through a few of the fights and did this, a few of the story parts. And we're just having a good time. And 30 minutes go by. Because they usually come up to you, tap you on the shoulder, and say, okay, your time's over. Just kept going. 45 minutes into it, nobody would stop us. We just kept on going. I'm like, babe, I go, she goes, no, they're supposed to stop us. I'm like, okay, we'll just keep playing. Screw it. Just kept on playing, kept on playing. Hour goes
And let
by.
me guess, Every 10 minutes you look over your shoulder, see if someone's going to come, right?
I'm looking over my shoulder. I'm like, she's playing, and I'm like looking over my shoulder. I'm like, where are these dudes at? And I see them like messing with everybody else to say, hey, we want the game. Y'all need to go return it. So eventually, about an hour and 30 minutes into it, we just said, I go, okay, they're clearly not coming.
Hey,
So
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
right. So she's like, yeah, let's go ahead and, go, or maybe we'll come up here when we have a chance or whatever. So we go up there and turn the game in. They're like, well, how long have y'all been up there? I go, well, probably about an hour and a half. They're like, wow. They're like, yeah, usually there's times where everything's going good and there's a huge, flow of people that are going in and out. That there's times they let people play for nearly 2 hours. I go, wow, we got stuck playing a game for an hour and a half. That was pretty cool. And that was really fun. That was a fun experience, especially my favorite gaming moment before all this crazy stuff with the entire world happened. That kind of ruined everything. Or kind of like put a damper on everybody's thing. But yeah, that was fun for sure. There's a lot of walking.
And a good time was had by all.
And a good time for everybody involved. Unfortunately, they won't have that event here in San Antonio next year. Because obviously the issue with the world going on, which is kind of a bummer. But hopefully they have it in 2022, and I could be like, Kakarot, you, No Remorse, Jesse Bug, I want to come down to, come over here to Texas. All of us could go together.
Oh gosh, if we're settled by then, which we should be, bless her heart, man. But my girl, she's as big as a gamer as me, if not more. Half the games on the picture I sent you was because of her. So remember that picture I sent you of half the games, the PS4 games I have? Half it was because of her.
Oh, there you go.
So, yeah, she will have a blast.
Oh, dude, because you walk in, you have like the show floor where you see all the games, you see the PC, you see the tabletop, you'll see all that. And then turn around, you see the games. Like, they had Brawlhalla. People were actually having tournaments there for Brawlhalla, which was funny. You have stuff you could purchase, old stuff. Dude, they were selling, this is what I try to explain to my wife. I was like, dude, I go, honey, they have where you could buy a Japanese import PlayStation 2 or something like that. And and you could buy Japanese games, import them over to your PS2, and you can play Japanese imports. You might pay more for it, but yeah. So you could experience games that you have never seen before on the market at all here in the United States.
And half the time, those Japanese imported games are better than the American version.
Oh yeah, they're way better. Some of them, I see Maximilian dude actually does that. He's got a Japanese imported console, or so I forgot which one it is. But he has it, and he'll mess around, and he'll tell people, oh yeah, check this out. And I'm like, oh, that's intriguing. I would love to have that. But that's my favorite gaming moment of the year. Going to PAX South with the wife and having a great time in the cold. But once we got out of the cold, and we had a fun time playing games and walking around the show floor. Yeah, but we're having so much fun.
Yeah. But, when you get having so much fun with the one you love, the world to you, the cold doesn't even faze you.
Oh, no. It didn't faze me. I was just like, let's go.
Just makes you go quicker to the place.
Well, so for you guys on Twitch, I will tell you one thing. The woman's always right. I walked all the way to the wrong side.
Just smile and nod.
Right. So I'm like, no, honey, it's this way. And we ended up walking across to the opposite side where that wasn't the main door to go into. That was just another part of the theater where you could walk into for like all the what do they have it? Oh my god, I'm gonna sound bad. All the panels. All the how they do all the panels. So we walk over there, and so we walk back, and then we actually missed the entrance. Cause she goes, that's the entrance. I'm like, no, that's not no entrance. She goes, well, that they have all the mechanical machines or whatever. You can go through it, and I'm like, no, that's not it. That's just something else.
Just play along.
The woman's always right, guys. But with that being said, anything you want to add, Kakarot, to episode 2 of our gaming podcast, bro?
All I want to say is, like the last one, doesn't matter what you play, just as long as you're having fun, happy gaming, and just wait till 2021, because I really just believe one of the things are really going to start kicking off with the next gen games.
Yes,
You'll start seeing a lot more announcements, at least.
So anyway, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching the HowtonEvolution Gaming Podcast episode 2 here on twitch.tv/HowtonEvolution. It will be uploaded live on my YouTube channel. Go check that out if you guys are new on YouTube. I do a bunch of gaming stuff, more on YouTube than here. I'm trying to get into Twitch a lot more, not just with the game podcast, but game as well and stuff like that. If you guys would love to donate, I do have a donation button on the about section of the channel. Check that out. And free to follow. I don't put no pressure on anybody to follow or donate. It's up to you guys. That being said, follow when I go live for either a podcast with my boy Kakarot or probably a retro game I'll probably end up playing in the near future. So with that being said, love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. Kakarot, love you, bro. Thank you guys
love
so
you,
much
bro.
for
Love
watching.
you guys out there, and happy gaming.
And if you don't see us for episode 3, have a fun and have a great rest of 2020. And we'll see you for 2021. Later, guys.
Bye, everybody.